Hmm. Good morning, friends. Welcome to our 12th physics lecture, chapter number 10, magnetic field due to electric current. So, last lectures, we'll just have a review of it. We have seen how a magnetic field is created because of electric current. Then we saw the direction of magnetic field was given by the right hand rule. Then we saw Lorentz force. Then we saw force on the straight conductor wires and arbitrary shaped wire. Then we saw torque on the loop. Then we saw how this principle is applied for moving coil galvanometer. Today we are going to see these topics: magnetic dipole moment, then magnetic potential energy, Biot-Savarit's law. So we know that what is Biot-Savarit's law? We have studied earlier, but now we are going to see its applications for the straight conductor, then for the loop at the center, the magnetic field at the center, and the magnetic field of a loop along the axis. So these things we are going to study in the next lecture, and then we'll just have a look at the slide. So children, here, the topic which I'm going to take is magnetic dipole moment. Now, for we have seen for electric field, electric dipole moment last year. Now, what is magnetic dipole moment? The magnitude, it can be defined as mu is equal to NIE, where N is the number of coil, then I is the current passing through the coil, A is the area enclosed by each turn of the coil, and torque responsible for the rotation of coil, tau equal to mu b sine theta. Theta being the angle between mu and b. Therefore, tau bar, that is a vector quantity which is equal to mu bar cross b bar. The torque on the electric dipole exerted by an electric field E vector is given by tau bar equal to P bar cross E bar. Here P is the electric dipole moment. Here last year we have seen that. Then these two expressions for tau, this is for the magnetic field and this is for the electric field. So these two expressions are analogous to each other. You can see that. Then we'll switch on to the next topic, that is magnetic potential energy of a dipole. Now, here you see a magnetic dipole. If a magnetic dipole is suspended in the electric field, because of its orientation, the magnetic potential energy is developed. So you can see that a magnetic dipole freely suspended in a magnetic field has the magnetic potential energy because of its orientation in the field. The potential energy is represented by capital U of an electric dipole P vector in an electric field E vector is given by U equal to minus P dot E bar, that is equal to PE cos theta. So it is dot product, you can see that. Then the potential energy U of the magnetic dipole, that is mu bar in the magnetic field B bar, is given by U equal to minus mu bar dot B bar, which is equal to minus mu B cos theta. So you can see the similarity for the electric dipole, potential energy due to electric field. So here and this, the magnetic energy because of the magnetic field. You can see that. Now there are two cases. You can have once when theta, if theta is equal to 0, u is equal to minus mu b cos 0. So cos 0 we know it is 1. So that is equal to minus mu b. That is the minimum potential energy of magnetic dipole when they are parallel, when mu and b are parallel. So figure you can see that here this is minimum energy. It is minus mu b. And second case is if theta equal to 180 degree, 180, then u equal to minus mu b cos 180, which is equal to mu b maximum potential energy. And you can see that they are anti-parallel here. When they are anti-parallel, and here it is parallel. So it is a degree, the angle between this is 0 and here it is 180. So they are anti-parallel. So here it is minimum energy, here it is maximum, minus mu b, and here plus mu b. So you may note down this, children. Then we'll switch on to the magnetic field due to a current. So see, it's Bard-Savitz's law. It's a very important law. And see here this, if you see any conductor, if you take here of any shape, and you take a part, small part, that is the infinitesimal length, dl. So the current in that also will be di, very small current. And because of this small element, you want to find out the magnetic field at point P. So that magnetic field also is small, that is differential magnetic field we can say. So that is dB. Okay, it is at the distance of r from the element. So because of this, what happens if you apply the right hand rule? If you hold the conductor in your right hand and you curl your fingers in such a way that the thumb, it gives the direction of magnetic field. So this magnetic field, you can see, it is inward. It is inward. You can see that. So this is the magnetic field. Thumb shows the direction of the current, and the curled fingers, they give the direction of the magnetic field. So it is inward, so it is represented by a circle and a cross. So the magnetic field dB produced by the current I in the length dl at a distance r from the conductor is dB equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl sine theta upon r square. Here you can see that this is the constant value. Mu 0 upon 4 pi is constant. So dB is actually proportional to four quantities. First is directly proportional to I current. It is proportional to dl. Then it is proportional to sine theta, and inversely proportional to r square. That is the distance between the element and the point at which we have to find out magnetic field. Now, here theta is the angle. Here theta is the angle between the directions of dl vector and r vector. Mu 0 is called the permeability constant given by, see here, this is the permeability of a free space. It is given by mu 0 equal to 2 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere. Here also you can say Weber per meter square. No, sorry, it is Tesla meter per ampere. So that is nearly equal to 1.26 into 10 raised to minus 6 Tesla meter per ampere. The direction of dB bar is directed by the cross product dl vector into r vector. So see here, vectorially it is written as dB bar equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl cross r cube. So this is the vector representation by written in cross product upon r cube. So these are the standard equations. This equation, first one dB is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl sine theta upon r square, and in vector form it is dB vector equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl, the dl vector cross r vector upon r cube. So this is the Bard-Savitz's law. It's a very important law because we're going to see applications. First application we'll see here now. You may note down the things or take a screenshot, children. Now see here. So this is a conductor. Straight conductor is taken. It is infinitely long, straight conductor. And you're finding out the magnetic field at point P here. It is at the distance of small r from the dl, and from the conductor it is r, capital R. So this is the figure. So see here, let us consider length element dl situated from the distance r from point P. So see here, and the magnetic field dB vector produced at P due to the current length element is dl becomes dB vector equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi. So we know this ideal sine theta upon r square. So that is the Bad-Savitz's law. Now the direction of the field is same, hence adding both the contributions upper and lower, the total magnetic field be at point P. So here you can see that if you take the element here, so half part is above, half part is below. So there is contribution of this both. So it is added and it is written here as twice, and it is infinitely long wire conductor. So at the top it is infinitely long and bottom also. So we take it as the integration 2 is coming constant. We are taking twice here because of the upper and lower contributions of magnetic field. So that becomes twice 0 to infinity integration of dB, and that is equal to, now dB value you can write it from here from this equation, which is equal to twice mu 0 upon 4 pi 0 to infinity ideal sine theta upon r square. Now by Pythagoras theorem, this is the hypotenuse, so it is r square. This is L. This is the length element L. L is the length, so L square plus r square. So this r is equal to under root of L square plus r square. And now sine theta is equal to sine of pi minus theta here. Now here this angle is pi minus theta. So we are going to consider this triangle. So this angle is sine pi minus theta. So that is opposite side is what? It is sine. So by trigonometry we have opposite side upon hypotenuse, that is r upon small r, which is equal to r divided by r under root of L square plus r square. Now B is equal to mu 0 I upon 2 pi. Take all the constant terms outside. This 2 is getting cancelled. 2 ones are 2s are. So this 2 pi. So 0 to infinity. So r dl upon under root of L square plus r square. And we are writing, see here, for sine theta from here, we are writing here the value r upon capital R upon this under root. So that value is taken, and this as it is r square is L square plus r square. So this is half raised to half, that is root, and this is 1. So it is become 3 by 2. And r is taken constant outside. Now once we integrate this, here we see that if L is infinite, long wire, infinite. So any term divided by infinity is equal to 0. So that equation becomes mu 0 I upon 2 pi r. So this is very important equation for the application, you can say rather, for the current in a straight long wire. So that comes about mu 0 I upon 2 pi r. B is equal to mu 0 I upon 2 pi r. So this is the derivation of this. It is asked sometimes for application. You derive or state the Bad-Savitz's law and write the application for the current in a straight long wire. So this is the equation which you have to derive. So take first Bad-Savitz's law and draw the figure. Figure is very much essential. So whatever, if you cannot write it now, you can just take the screenshots of this. The next point which we are going to take is force of attraction between two long parallel wires. Initially I told you about this. So here two long wires are there. L1, this is wire 1 and wire 2. These are the two conductors. And the currents, we can see that I1 is in the same direction with that of I2. Initially, first lecture I told you that when the current carrying conductor is carrying current I, so because of this current, there is magnetic field, and this magnetic field on every point on the second wire, and because of that magnetic field and this I2 current, there is a force exerted on I1. So that forces we are going to see. So because of I1, there is force which is exerted by wire 2, and because of wire 2, there is a force exerted by wire 1. So remember that, and it depends upon the direction of the currents. If they are in the same direction, then there is the force of attraction, and if they are in opposite direction, there is force of repulsion. If it is attraction, then what happens is this wire and this wire, they come closer. So this distance d is reduced. See that the distance d is reduced because there is force of attraction. But if there is repulsion, that is the direction of the currents are opposite, then this d, this whatever is shown, it becomes greater. So this goes far away here from this, and this is like this. So this way we get the force of repulsion. So now see here, we'll just derive this equation. Let us obtain the force of attraction between two long parallel wires separated by distance d. Now let the currents in the two wires be I1 and I2. The magnetic field at the second wire, here I told you the magnetic field at the second wire due to current I1 in the first one B is equal to, so we know this equation, mu 0, B is equal to mu 0 I1 upon 2 pi D. Okay, then force on the wire 2 because of current I2. So I told you the force on wire 2, the force on wire 2, see here this, the force on wire 2 because of the current, I2, force on this because of current I2 and the magnetic field B. It is given due to the current in the wire 1, due to the current in wire 1. See here I told you that is F is equal to I2B integration of dl, or you can just say, just for remembrance, you can say that force is on the, because of the wire is due to the straight conductor, you can say that it is bill. You can just remember bill or I2B, and this is integration of dl because it is a long conducting wire, and then F is equal to I2, substitute the value of B. We have seen the first lecture the force for the straight conductor and arbitrary shape. If it is a straight conductor, what is the force? We have seen that. So F is equal to I2. If it is of any shape, we have got this equation, and then we will substitute the value of B mu 0 I from this equation 1, mu 0 I1 upon 2 pi D, and that is integration of dl. Therefore, force per unit length of the wire will be F dash equal to mu 0 upon 2 pi I1 I2 upon D. Then we'll see if the currents I1 and I2 are anti-parallel, the force will be repulsive. I told you this initially. Let us consider a section of length L of the wire 2. The force on this section due to the current in wire 1 is given by. So here F is equal to I2 BL. Now instead of integration dl, we are taking the small section of that length, that is capital L. So instead of integration L only, we have just written here capital L, and we know what is B value. So when that equation F is equal to mu 0 I1 I2 L upon 2 pi D, that is equal to F21. Now this is the force exerted by the second wire on first. We will denote this force by F21, that is the force on the section of length L2 of wire 2 due to the current in the wire 1. Similarly, the force on the section of the same length L of wire 1 now the other way round, will experience a force due to the current in wire 2. Now this force we denote by F12, which is equal and opposite to F21. So it is, I told you it is equal and opposite. So F21 equal to minus F12. The directions are opposite. Now the force of attraction per unit length is then given by. So this above equation, from this above equation, F upon L, you can say. So F upon L, if the two forces are equal, so that we can equate it equal to F, and that F upon L equal to mu 0 upon 2 pi I1 I2 upon D. If the currents I1 and I2 are flowing in opposite directions, then there is force of repulsion on the sector of length L of each of the wires. The magnitude of the repulsive force per unit length of the wire is also given by F upon L equal to mu 0 upon 2 pi I1 I2 upon D. So magnitude wise, we can say that F upon L is the same for both attractive force and for the force of attraction and force of repulsion. That is F upon L equal to mu 0 upon 2 pi I1 I2 upon D. So please note down this, children, and go this derivations and make a writing practice of this. This question is asked for 3 to 4 marks. Now, the last topic of today's lecture is magnetic field produced by a current in a circular arc of a wire. Now we have seen for the straight conductor earlier in using Bad-Savage's law. Now here we are going to take a part of a circle, you can say. It is called an arc, and the angle subtended is theta. See here, current carrying wire of a part of a, it is a circular arc, and the length of the element which we are taking is small, very small length. Right? Here it is small length, dl, and it is always perpendicular. We know it is tangential rather. So, tangent is always perpendicular to radius. We know that. That is r. Now see here, a circular arc of a wire AB carrying a current I. The circular arc AB subtends an angle theta at the center of the circle of which the arc is a part, and r is its radius. You see that? Now, using Bad-Savage's law, the magnetic field produced at O is given by this equation. This is the equation which is the standard equation of the Bad-Savage's law. Here one thing you note down, children. First, we are going to find out the magnetic field for the small element dl. Then we'll see it for this arc, total arc. So when we consider the arc, we'll consider this theta. First for the small, this one arc, then for the this one circular arc, and then for a whole circle, we'll consider the whole circle by integrating these values of this dB. Because we'll take the small elements and we'll add up this, and we'll get the value for the magnetic field due to the whole circle at the center O. So first here dB, we know that Bad-Savage's law. Always consider whenever we start with the equation, write down what is the Bad-Savage's law. dB vector is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl cross r bar, dl bar cross r bar upon r cube. So when we take the direction or the vector form, we take it as cube here. So dB is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl r dl dot r sine 90. So I told you that this is dl and this is r. So the angle formed here is 90, tangent and radius. So that becomes sine 90, and that is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I dl upon r squared. So this is the equation, and then we'll integrate this for dl. So total dl, it is for circle we'll consider. See here, the total field at O is therefore, so integrate this. Integrate means we are adding up, or you can take the summation. So instead of summation, we'll have dB. So for the circular arc from A to B, so from A to B, mu 0 upon 4 pi I, whatever the constant terms comes out of integration, and then what remains is dl upon r squared. Now, dl upon r squared. What is dl? It is r d theta. And now you'll take it for the whole circle. Now this was for arc. Now for the whole circle, 0 to theta. So that is r upon r squared d theta. So once you integrate d theta, it becomes theta. Now what is theta? Theta angle, where the angle theta is in radians. Magnetic field at the center of the full circle of a wire carrying a current I, B is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi. This I is taken, and instead of theta, 2 pi. So we get B is equal to mu 0 upon 2 I upon R. So this is the equation for the magnetic field at the center of the circular loop. Considering the arc, first considered the arc, and then we got it for the loop, where we have taken theta is equal to the whole angle, that is theta is equal to 2 pi. So this is the this is regarding the today's lecture, and whatever difficulties you have, you may ask us, and next lectures will solve problems also. So once your theory is perfect, you can solve any type of problem. If you have any problem, children, you may ask, and keep on studying. Thank you.